Me now from Hong Kong is Tommy Wu. He's lead economist at Oxford Economics. So, Tommy, first I'd like to get your reaction to the goals and the policies that China has laid out at the Economic Work Conference.
Hi. I think the goals and policies are pretty much expected because last month we have seen the CCP has already laid out, basically the key points of the 14th five-year plan for the next 5 years. And basically, what's coming up from the work conference meeting is it's basically laying out the plans how to clearly implement those plans, including what you've just said about carbon emissions or the strategies on being more self-reliant and also basically in improving on China's self-reliance again on innovation, technology, and also very importantly, it's the shifting of or economic rebalancing towards more domestic demand.
You know, this time last year, it was hard to predict what we would see with the pandemic. What is your outlook? So looking short term, what's the outlook for the Chinese economy in 2021? And your take on what is projected so far versus what you think will actually happen?
I think this year, so far, it has been quite a surprise if we look back. If we're sitting at the beginning of this year, during the first quarter when China was battered by the COVID-19. But afterwards, it seems like things are under control and the recovery path is on a very solid track since the second quarter of this year. So I would expect this to continue into next year. So at Oxford Economics, we are now forecasting this year's growth to be 2.1% and next year will be 8.1%. So these are a pretty solid number. But I have to say that part of the 8.1% growth next year has to come from the low base this year. So we're in our mind, we're thinking that after the recovery this year, so far, the economic momentum will actually be slowing. Part of that has to do with the shifting of policy stance from a more expansionary policy stance towards more contractionary next year.
That being said, what does China's growth mean for the global economy in the year ahead? We've seen the Asia-Pacific region doing a little bit better than other parts of the world, but as you know, many other countries are still mired in the pandemic, like the United States. So what do you see as far as the ripple effect from China's recovery?
Well, I think so far, because of especially the domestic recovery in China, it has driven a lot of import demand, which benefited a lot of the Asian countries as well as a lot of emerging markets, and also, well, broadly speaking, the global trade in general. But I think next year things will be rotating because domestically China will be. I would say that the consumption sector and also the corporate investment sector will be taking the baton in terms of driving growth next year, whereas infrastructure and real estate investment will be slowing down next year. So that means the import demand for, say, consumer goods or capital goods will be much higher next year, and those commodity exporters in the world may see a lesser of a boost coming from China for next year.